lot of people think that trance music is just all about leads and vocals and stuff, but I've been doing a lot of feedback streams lately where you guys have been sending me in your tracks and I've been listening to them, and I'm realizing that a lot of you guys still don't understand the real secret weapon of trance music, which is actually the kick and bass. So I've got this template right here. Which, this is from my Modern Trance Toolkit. It's this one. I've got a link at the top of the description to download this pack. Plus, I've got a $20 off discount code just for YouTube, which is limited time only, so use it while it's available. Thanks for the support, guys. But yeah, as you can hear here, obviously this is a nice, very melodic and full template. But if you really listen, like, a lot of it is sitting on top of this kick and bass. Right, this is really like the body of the track. If you take this away, all of a sudden it becomes very hollow. Right, and all of those melodies don't really have like a literal bass line to sit on top of. Now, I want to show you something. If I bounce this kick down, right now it's in MIDI, so you can't see this, but if I bounce the kick to audio, look at that. You can literally see that the kick is pretty much completely gone when the bass hits. I guess this could be a little more perfect, but this is, this is out of the way, right? So if you see this, like, you literally have the kick and then the bass. So that's the first thing. It's this real fine line where you still have body to the kick, right? There's still, like, that stuff. It's not just literally just, like, right, because you need a little bit of bass to it. But then you can see it just gets out of the way completely in time for the bass. And they're really clean, right? And then, like, let's say if I just pitch this down so that it's a bit longer real quick. Right, you can see all of a sudden that bass line isn't working quite as well because they're clashing. So that's the first thing, is you need a kick like this that's going to work with your bass line, literally just like the length. Like, if you're gonna have this kind of bass line, you need to have a kick that gets out of the way of the bass. The other thing that people really neglect with this secret weapon of trance is just cutting your kick, right? A lot of people think that the kick doesn't need any kind of EQ, or maybe it just needs like a high-end boost or something like that. But out of all the pro project files I've looked inside of, which I've seen a bunch of them, I've talked to a bunch of these guys, they all do this. They take the kick and cut a little bit of sub. Now, you could do this in a few different ways, where maybe you cut like this, where it's really harsh. You can also do like this, where it's just kind of more of like a lighter filter. But you can literally see the difference. Like, if I play you the whole template, and we have mastering on here, so you'll really be able to hear it. If I play it with this, without. Right, you can see when I turn it on, it lifts the whole track, and it's barely audible, but basically what's happening there is there's a lot of those frequencies that you don't really hear. Like, we literally can't hear below 20 hertz, but also, like, in a kick, when you already have a bass line going, you really don't need anything too low below that. Now, my rule of thumb for doing this is, let's say we were starting from scratch again. I kind of look at it on the spectrum here and just cut it up to about where, like, that loudest frequency is starting, right? Like, it was about there on this one. You really don't want to go too high. Like, if you go too high, it's going to mess up your track, right? But if you really cut that sub, it just makes this kick and bass sit a lot better. And then also, I've converted this to mono afterwards, because sometimes you can get phase stuff with the EQ, you just want to be careful. And then the last piece I think is really important for this is just also understanding, like, the right kicks. Like, if you listen to this, it has a lot of punch at the start. Now, you could even accentuate this a little bit. Like, if you're working with a kick that's a little bit less punchy, maybe one good way to do that is you take a send, and you could actually just put an overdrive on there, right? And then you're just going to filter it into just, like, the top end. Maybe bring the dynamics up. We can tweak it once we're listening. And then start sending this into that. right? And see, you can add a lot of click to your kick. Another good way to do it is using Ableton's Roar. You can literally just take Roar, and I would usually put this before the EQ cut. And then what you're going to do is we're going to bring the dry wet down later, but right now we'll just keep it up so we can hear this. I'm going to take the high end and just start, like, maybe use a little bit of a harder distortion here. Like, I like this tube preamp. Bring in a bit of that. And we're going to play a lot here with the bands, the frequency bands of where this is hitting. And then we're going to do similar on the mid. I'm just going to keep the soft shaper. But very important, you got to go here to this low and turn it up. Because if you don't, right, you're going to start getting that. So we're going to start bringing up the low. And it's just telling this to only hit on like the real mid range of the sound. Like, you can literally see where it's kind of accentuating there. Then once you have this, obviously, you know, this isn't really what you would want out of a kick. But if you take the dry wet and just bring it, like, you don't use that much, like max 20%. Right, you can bring out more of that click. Now, this sample doesn't necessarily need it so much, but let's just use like the Core 909 from Ableton, right, which doesn't usually have that kind of click. Like, let's take that. So you go from this to that. See, so if you do have a kick that's kind of lacking, this is a really good way to bring that up. And yeah, so I just wanted to make that video to talk about the real secret weapon of trance music, because I think a lot of people don't realize it really is in your kick and your bass. A lot more just working with that kick and really making it work properly with the bass. Again, like, you should be able to bounce your kick down, and then it literally is just cutting out right as the bass starts, right? As long as you can do that, it works really well. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. You can get this template that I used in this video in my Modern Trance Toolkit. It's this one. The link's at the top of the description, and I got that discount code just for YouTube people for a limited time only. So make sure to use that while it's available. Thanks for the support, guys, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.